So I've been ringing here since 2008, and I've ringed well over 2,000 birds on the farms in this immediate area. And the value of that is that we're learning a lot about woodcock migration, about weights, about the sort of fields they choose to feed on, filling a lot of knowledge gaps about the species that we've not been able to find out up until now. So people think about ringing and they go, oh well, you know, it's useful because you put a ring on a bird and then if it's shot somewhere you can find out where they migrate to. But you'll see later on we're going to be gathering quite a lot of biometric data, so we're going to be measuring and weighing birds, and that's really valuable because it teaches us things such as weight and how they respond to winter weather. So in frosty weather we can see how the weight drops, or if it's snowy, and that's a really valuable bit of information that we're building knowledge on. And then the other thing is that we're looking at retrapping birds. So what we've found out with all the ringing on this site, which is now being replicated elsewhere with Andrew Hoodless ringing in Cornwall and in Hampshire, is that birds come back to the same site year after year. So there's this what we call wintering site fidelity. And that was quite astonishing because I've just done some number crunching recently, and we're looking at probably about 40 to 45% wintering site fidelity in adult birds coming back, not just to the same farm, but to the same fields, and very often within yards of where I first caught them and put rings on, which was just astonishing when that started to emerge.
Shall we go and catch them?
Yeah, come on, let's go and get ourselves up there and grab the net, and let's head for the hills. Good, follow me. A lot of cows making a lot of noise. Seeing anything, Lee? I can see one here. Yes. Yeah, okay. The other side. Oh, I see them. Oh, I see them. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, they're running about. Yeah, that one, the middle one's running, isn't it? That's going to be tricky because when they're that mobile, they're quite often very tricky to catch. Okay, see if we can get this gate open quietly. This grass, when it's this lush, is quite squeaky under your boots. Makes a bit of noise, doesn't it? We'll just slow down here so we don't surprise anything. Well spotted, well done. Yeah, that's one. Okay, I'll go in, see if I can get it there. Just wait here. Right, let's get this one ringed. It's quite a nice bird. So I normally just rest it upside down. They're usually fairly passive when they're upside down like this. What we'll do is get the ring on straight away. Yeah, if you just record the number of the ring, and we'll just crimp it in a little bit to stop it falling off. So I'm just going to wing measure here now. Quite often they'll have a little flap like this when you turn them over and they get a free wing, but you want to get this done fairly quickly. So it's important to try and keep this line as straight as you can on the leading edge. So that is 202. Yeah, that's right, feather to tip. So that is 72.0. Yeah, the males are sure to beat, that's true enough, but there's a sort of a big grey area between, a bit of a variable there. But certainly if you see a nice long beak, that's normally a female. Yep. Right, okay, so the next thing we need to do is to weigh it. And then the technique is to let it settle a bit. We'll just fold the beak down nice and neatly like that, and it goes straight in. Look at the way it's displayed, isn't that amazing? That's a threat display, or it's a display to perceived threat. It's the stress thing, and it's showing a target. So if there's something attacking it, it offers that as a target, but it's also quite bright. And you see how shiny those are. They really reflect the UV light. So in half light, the female would be flashing those feathers on the ground when the male's roding, and that shows UV light very well at the time that the males are roding. So we're looking weight on that. Look at that, beautiful. 348.3. Okay, which is quite a good weight. That bird's been in a little while, and then we'll just let that one release it back onto the ground. It'll fly away. Sometimes they sit there, just quietly, but normally they just want to get away from here. I can't blame them. Perfect. Good job, Lee. Well done. On that last one, there was a little squeak in my boot, and you could see the bird do that. It instantly knew. And so when the lamp's on, it doesn't know that there's a person or anything coming to it. It just sees the glow. But you'll see a reaction, and quite often at that point it's good just to pause or go quite slowly. Sometimes just take the lamp off them slightly. It just slightly distresses them. Doesn't distress them, it de-stresses them a little bit. And then you can put the lamp back on them. Sometimes you just see them relax a little bit, or if the lamp changes and you put the beam so it's slightly behind them, it changes their perspective and they disorientate a little bit more. But the other thing about it is that when they're walking like that, you can actually catch up with them, and you can make a little bit more noise because they're walking and maybe they're not as focused. So it's a little bit like grandmother's footsteps. They'll run a little bit and then they'll pause and you'll slow down and then they'll run again and then you'll try and catch up. But you're trying to make ground on them all the time. And I've seen on this field one night, it was very frosty, and this bird took me in a huge circle all the way around, and I called it Hussein Bolt because it was just going way too fast for me to catch up with it. And if anybody'd seen me, I thought I'd nuts just chasing this bird around. Brilliant. It's all good fun.